Formal introduction, Professor Maru. I hope I am audible now.
Yes.
I don't know is to the organizers have asked me to say something. I would obviously be saying something for the sake of saying. We know that the medical science and research, medical research were the most important and integrated things for the human health. This is something, the medical science is not new to our country. This we must understand. I remember, if you go through the Pali literature, when Hindi and Sanskrit was not in existence, 2500 years ago, then a saint who was the greatest scientist of this earth, who was the greatest scientist of mind, he then also introduced research. Now you would be surprised as to what kind of research it was. After all, what is medical research? Medical research is something which can transform either medical education or patient health practices. That is all. And with the research methodology, what all you do? You try to sort out the questions, different questions pertaining to disease process, pertaining to causation, pertaining to management, pertaining to investigations, pertaining to treatment, pertaining to prevent complications, pertaining to prevent the diseases, and its effectivity if taken into cognizance. The best evidence if taken into cognizance along with the medical expertise, along with the patient care, it becomes evidence-based, simple. It is too simple to say. Of course, your expert would be teaching you in a very sophisticated manner by bringing all those fancy terms. Descriptive, correlative, quasi-experimental, experimental, randomized, controlled, evidence-based, 6 level of evidence. That is absolutely perfect. But as a layman, if, as a director, as an administrator, if I am asked, my definition for research is very simple and for evidence-based is also very simple. Now, why does the need arise for the investigation? And at the outset, I proclaimed that the research was embedded. Prime Minister also said it, that research was embedded in the genes of human being of Indian continent. I can echo it. Yes, I know. When we did not know anything about the disease, then Lord Buddha said, for the social evils, we are the people who learn from sufferings, we earn from sufferings. We earn our bread and butter by alleviating the suffering of human beings. That is how we are. In the same tone, Lord Buddha said about the society as to what are the causes for the sufferings. And he advocated 4 researches on this. What were those? Is there a suffering? Number 1. We say it in different tones. Is there a disease? First we ascertain whether the patient is suffering with the disease or there is no disease. And for that also, over the years we have evolved with the system of clinical evaluation. By clinical evaluation, by history and examination, my best teacher tend to say that 90% of 80% of the diagnosis is reached by a good history taking. And rest 10% of the clinical diagnosis is reached by a very good examination, which of course we have forgotten in today's practice. That is very unfortunate. So the first thing is there a suffering? Buddha said about the social diseases. The same way we said, is there a disease? That was also based on research. Mind it. Of course, we have evolved now from the clinical evidence to the transformation of this century to the mainly medical engineering, but at some stage we were there at initial stage. Then number two, if there is a suffering, what is the cause for this suffering? For the society, the same we apply here. If there is a disease, what is the cause for that disease? It is research based. Today we have come to know that there are congenital causes, infective causes, neoplastic causes, inflammatory causes, immunological causes, unknown causes, idiopathic causes, blah blah blah. So many things. Now the list of idiopathic diseases is exhausting today. That is also research based. Our saints and sages in ancient era, they were also doing research. Don't think that Ayurveda was not based on research. It was also based on research. How it was done? And these were experimental research, let me tell you. The dog fallen sick, the dog by saints was taken to different plants. Dog had fever. He was taken around with the herbal garden, along with the herbal garden. The dog discarded few herbs and snubbed few herbs and ate few leaves, and the dog got cured. That is how our saints decided at that time with the experimentation as to what herbal preparation can be useful for a particular ailing disease, ailing process. So at that time, is there a suffering? We translated it here. Is there a disease? What is the cause for the suffering? Here we translated it as to what are the etiological factors for the disease. Then comes, what is the treatment of suffering? So thus said, what is the treatment of suffering? We evolved with the disease. What is the treatment of the disease? And then, are there measures to prevent these sufferings? We have opened full department of preventive medicine for unnecessary reasons. So, over the years we have evolved from bare recognition of disease to the investigations, to the treatment modalities, to the prevention of complications, to the level of prevention of the avoidance of complications. This all is research based. What research does? Research solves the questions arising out of the medical conditions. Evidence, there was no word evidence when I was MBBS student or even an MSc student. There was no concept of evidence-based medicine. Whatever our teacher said was evidence. I mean, today also that is the level 6 evidence. If something is said by a very senior person who has passed 20-25 years of his service, if he says something, if I say something in neurosurgery, today I am believed blindly that yes, if he is saying this must be true. So that is also one of the evidence because it is based on experience. But I wish to convey you that the time when there was no CT, no MRI, no functional MRI, no MR angiography, no digital subsection angiography, no transcranial Doppler, then also a very ancient physician, cum surgeon, who was called as Jivak, he diagnosed a patient with the brain pathology. I am surprised 2500 years ago, rather 2600 years ago, how this man could reach to this diagnosis that the lady is suffering from the worm infestation in the brain. If you read our literature, this information may be new for you, but I am telling because I have written it. You can put in Google with my name as to what was the first brain surgery performed on this earth. You will come to know that the Jivak was the first royal physician cum surgeon who performed surgery on the brain, and he reached to the target without investigation. I am yet to understand as to how brilliant this man was. There was no CT scan. Even today, If I ask my new resident to make a craniotomy flare and raise the bone flare, then he takes 2-3 centimeter on either side in order to have a precise localization. And this man Jiva Kun who operated on the brain of a merchant's wives, he precisely reached into the brain parenchyma and he fetched 2 worms from the brain and headache was relieved. This is very much documented. It is written in literature by me. You can search it. Today, despite so many investigations, we are lost. But think about the time when there was no differentiation between brain and mind, who Buddha did ultimately. And at that time, without investigation, without radiology, without brain mapping, without precision of different segments of the parietal, frontal, temporal, occipital bones, this man did a craniotomy and he reached to the particular site where the worm was lying. I think that was again based on the science. Otherwise, nobody would today even dare to open the brain. When I was resident, when I was doing my MS, my head of department took a lecture on head injury, and during those days, when the treatment of head injury was not too much developed, my teacher tend to teach me that if the family is embarrassing you, ask them to take a ice cube and put on the head and put them on work, because it is masterly inactivity from the surgeon side. You need not to do anything, keep on watching, infusing fluids and give some diuretics. If there is brain edema, it will be taken care of, and patient, if destined to have spontaneous recovery, he will. If not, then declare him dead. That was the time. Yet, before 2500 years ago, and it is not only anecdotal example, mind it, there are other examples for the migraine also written in the Nepali literature. They are collected from different sites, Milinpanda and different kinds of Nepali literature, which I don't remember name in this chapter. But the science of clinical evaluation was so perfect, so precise, so much informative, and so much, I can say, appropriate in meticulous precision by the process of learning, that a person, a physician, could reach a particular site in a large brain of 1200 grams. 1200 ग्राम का दिमाग है ना हम सबके पास. Indigenous property है, is most complex structure, most fastidious and most enigmatic and most जो जोड़ना चाहे जोड़ सकते हैं आप, और वहाँ वो precision से पहुँच गए. Why I am saying so? I am saying it, in the pace of advancement, we are forgetting the basic tenets of medical science. Now the diagnosis of hepatomegaly is made by ultrasound, not by palpation of abdomen in right hypochondrium. That is the misfortunate part. And if I am to teach the science today, I will start again from A. The good history taking, good evaluation, good thorough examination, perfection in examination, probably that needs to be retaught in our medical science. I think I am taking too much time, but tolerating me for these many minutes. There are many things I can say and keep on saying, but that is not needed. Thank you very much.